Eisenman has described a broad messianic nationalistic movement in which a number of supposed factions, if there was ever any distinction between them, effectively merged. Eisenman's explanation accommodates and accounts for what has previously seemed a welter of contradictions and anomalies. It makes sense, too, of the mission on which Paul is dispatched by James and the hierarchy of the so-called early church, the Nazarene enclave in Jerusalem. In biblical times, it must be remembered, Israel was not just a territory, not just a particular tract of land. Even more important, Israel denoted a people, a tribe, a host. When Paul and other evangelists are sent forth by the hierarchy in Jerusalem, their purpose is to make converts to the law, that is, to Israel. What would this have meant in practical terms, if not the recruitment of an army? Since Old Testament times, and especially since the Babylonian captivity, the tribe of Israel had been scattered across the Mediterranean world and beyond, on into Persia, where, at the time of Simon Bar Kochba's rising in AD 132, there was still enough sympathy to elicit at least a promise of support. Were not the emissaries of the Jerusalem hierarchy sent to tap this potential immense source of manpower, to call to the colours the dispersed people of Israel, to drive the Roman invaders from their native soil and liberate their homeland? And Paul, in preaching a wholly new religion rather than mustering recruits, was in effect demilitarizing, and emasculating the movement. This would, of course, have been a far more serious matter than merely lapsing from dogma or certain ritual observances. It would have been, in fact, a form of treason for the law, as it figures in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Is not Wally confined to dogma and ritual observances running throughout the Qumran text as a sacred duty? There is clearly a thrust to build a legitimate messianic persona, whether royal or priestly, or both by implication. This would involve the re-establishment of the ancient monarchy and priesthood, to drive out the invader, to reclaim and purify the Holy Land for the people chosen by God to inhabit it. In the world of the war scroll, the dominion of the invaders shall come to an end. The sons of righteousness shall shine over all the ends of the earth.